How do you feel today?
We had a great time today. Just a wonderful opening, a great audience. Really, since the strike has been over, everyone's so happy to be back at the theater. There's a renewed energy, so we're having a ball.
Well, that's been great. The audience last night, when you first see this show, that first scene is very melodramatic, and then all of a sudden the fire just starts, and that ball starts rolling, and you all just get crazy up there.
Yeah. Well, what we found out is you have to, if you're going to do something this ridiculous, you have to start it off fairly realistic. You have to set up a situation that the audience cares enough about before it can all go haywire. If they're not invested in the characters, it's really not that funny. You laugh in recognition with them once you come to like them. So the first scene is all about setting up a situation that makes the audience sympathetic to the characters.
Now talk about this great character or characters. Talk about them how you will.
Yeah, well, Jean-Francois Millet is sort of Twain's fictional account of a real painter, and he was in his real actual lifetime he was quite successful, but this play imagines him as a young starving artist not able to sell a painting. Someone says to him, well, if you were dead, your stuff would be worth a lot more. Twain commenting on the whole nature of celebrity and the irony that we worship our dead heroes and we sort of idolize them afterwards, and he was so ahead of his time with those themes. So they fake his death, and I come back as my own widowed sister, and it's a wonderful. It would have been a very typical convention at turn of the century farces. Lots of guys are dressing up in dresses, but what's interesting about this one is that he really doesn't want to be in a dress. He's terrible at it at first, and the joy of the second act is to watch him as he perfects this character. He falls in love with this character he's invented. So he's a great painter, and he also discovers he's a wonderful actor, and he finds a whole different side of his artistic talent. So it's wonderful to play.
Your comic bits are incredible. That scene in the second act when you dissect the body and do all of that stuff. I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house last night, and you just take us. It's like watching the best of theater, the best of watching. I don't know.
Performance art.
I can't put into words what you do, but it's so amazing. How long did that take to perfect during the rehearsal process? And
it's written so funny. That was funny from the first time we did it. That stuff wasn't. Believe it or not, when David Ives has written some really and Twain, brilliant situations. The much harder stuff was the more somber stuff, the more serious stuff. The drag portion of the show is a little bit easier than getting the tone right for the opening of the play. That was actually trickier.